Hi, this is Avi from CS Study Portal and welcome to another C++ video. In this video, we will see all the steps involved from writing a C++ program to generate an executable file and executing the generated executable file. Now, before getting started, this video is for beginner and I have simplified a lot of things in this video. Let's get started. Now, the code written in any programming language is called as source code, and the code written using C++ programming language is called as C++ source code. You know that we use a text editor, we write the code and then we save that in the computer memory as a computer file. Now the file containing the source code written in the programming language is called as the source file, and the file contain the C++ source code. This is called as the C++ source file. Now, how can we differentiate a file containing the C++ source code from any other file? For example, if we have a text file, then that text file will have the .txt extension. Similarly, the mp3 file have .mp3 extension and the PDF file have .pdf extension. By looking at this file extension, we can say that the particular file is which file type. Now the source file of containing the C++ code will be saved with extension of cpp. Now .cpp, this is the most common used file extension for the C++ source file. Apart from this, you guys can also find .cc extension, .cxx extension, and then .cp extension, and .c, here capital C extension for the C++ source file, but the most commonly used file extension is the .cpp. Now, along with this file, there is another type of file which is used for writing the source code in the C++ programming language, and they are called as the header files. And these header files will have .h or .hpp extension. The files with the .h or .hpp extension will also contain the C++ source code, but there is a slight difference between the file with .cpp extension and the file with the .h or .hpp extension, and we will talk about that a moment. But here .h extension for the header file in C programming language, and some people use that same extension for the C++ header file also. But if you really want to tell difference between the header file from the C++ programming language and the header file from the C programming language just by looking at the extension, then you should use the .hpp extension because it will differentiate it from the C header files. Now, what is the difference between the file with the .cpp extension and the .hpp extension? The file with the .hpp extension or the header file will contain the declaration of features, and the file with .cpp will actually contain the implementation. For example, let's say we are writing a program and we have creating a features to add two numbers, and let's call it as add. Now the header file will contain, what is the name of the feature, how many values we have to give to this feature so that it can run properly, and all these things. It will not contain the implementation. The implementation of this feature add will be written with the file with the .cpp extension. It has a lot of advantage, and you will learn about that later in this video series. But right now, just remember that the C++ source code is saved with .cpp extension and .hpp extension. Okay, now let's talk about the C++ code. Here we are just talking about the things in theoretical way. Now we are just drawing things. But when we start writing the code in this video series, I will show you all those things practically. Now when we write the program in this programming language, in program we have to do the not task again and again. For example, in the most of the program you will be in situation to convert the string value from lowercase to uppercase, or you want to print some text on the screen, or you want to read the input from the user. There are a lot of things that you do again and again while writing the program. All the programming languages provide the built-in features to do that things which are frequently done in the programs. For example, as I said before, now we print some text on a screen, we read the input from the user. You know, these are the things which are done again and again, and all the programming languages provide the built-in features to do all these things. And C++ also provide the built-in features to do all these things, and the C++ provides them in the form of C++ standard library. This library is provided by C++. It has all those built-in features. So let's say in your program you want to print some text on the screen. All you have to do is you have to use the built-in features available in the standard library, use that in your program and provide the text that you want to print to the screen to that particular features, and it will do that job. In the C++ program you can use the features provided by a standard library and you can write the code. Now this is about the features provided by C++. In C++ programming language, what you can do, you can create a feature and you can share with other programmers. For example, let's say you are creating a feature to load the mp3 file from the disk and play the mp3 file. Now you can write the code for that and you can share that code with other programmers. The other programmers who want to load and mp3 file from disk and play it, you know, they can use your code instead of writing that. So in C++ you can create your own libraries and you can share that with other programmers. So if someone has already created a features and if they are sharing that, then you can use it in your code also. So you can do that by including the external libraries. Normally we all the time use the features from the standard library, and the uses of external library depends on the program that you are written. Okay, now here if you want to use the features from the library, maybe standard or external libraries, all you have to do is you have to include the header file which contain the declaration of features. Once you include those files, those features will available in your program and you can write the code. Now the next thing is, in C++ programming, while writing the code, if you want you can divide your programs into multiple files. If your program is large, then you should to do that. It has a lot of advantage. Now here let's assume that I am writing a C++ program and I have divided my program in two different files. One file name is 1 and the extension is .cpp. So you can see here 1.cpp and the other file is 2.cpp. Okay, now the next thing is that we have written the program, but we want to execute our program. We directly can't execute the code that we have written in C++ programming language, because as a programmer we can look at the code and understand what exactly is going on, but the computers can only understand the code written in the machine language. So what we have to do is we have to translate this code written in C++ programming language to machine code, so that the computers can understand it and they can execute the program. So now we have to transform our source code from C++ to machine code. Now what we going to do is we are going to create a executable file from this C++ source code, and then the executable file can executed by the computer. Now the process of the creating an executable file uh, from the source code is called as the build process. And now let's take a look at the build process. So the first step in the build process in order to create an executable file is pre-processing. We use a program called as preprocessor. This preprocessor takes the C++ source code as the input, and it does some processing and it generates the intermediate code. Now the preprocessor does a lot of work and it provides a lot of features. The preprocessor, it can clean up your code. For example, in a source code, if you have written a lot of new lines space, then it will remove that. If you have used the comment, then it will remove that which you have later in this video series. And also I said that we can include all these features to our program by including the header file. The preprocessor will actually includes content of those header file. In the source code, you provide the name of the header file that you want to include, and the preprocessor will actually includes those content of the header file to your program. You know, it will do all this processing and it will generate the intermediate file. Now the output of the preprocessor, if it is saved, then it will be saved with a file which will have the extension .ii. Now here we assume that we have divided our program in two files, one.cpp and two.cpp. The preprocessor output will be one.ii, which will contain preprocessed code of the one.cpp, and the two.ii, which will contain the preprocessed code of two.cpp. Okay, now we have the intermediate code, but we can't really execute that. Now the next thing is that we have to do this, we have to translate this code to machine code. For that purpose we use a program called as a compiler. And you know, compiler is a computer program that transforms the code written in higher level programming language to lower level programming language. And this process of using this compiler to transform the code from higher level programming language to lower level programming language is called as the compilation process. Now here, since we are working with C++ program, we will use the C++ compiler, and the C++ compiler will take the output of the preprocessor, which is the intermediate code, and it will translate that lower level language. Now a lot of compilers are available for C++. In this video series, we will using the compiler provided by GCC. GCC, it stands for GNU Compiler Collection. They provided compiler for a lot of different programming language like C, ADA, and then Go language, etc. They also provide a compiler for C++ programming language. It is open source, freely available, and we will using that in this video series. Now, some C++ compiler, they take the output of the preprocessor as the input and they directly produce the machine code, but the compiler that GCC provides, it take intermediate code as the input and it generate the assembly codes. Now, the file containing the assembly code, it is called as the assembly file, and they will normally have the extension .s. Now, during this compilation process, the C++ compiler will take the intermediate code produced by the preprocessor and it will generate the assembly code, and the compiler will also make sure that you have followed all the rules of the C++ programming language. You know, all the programming language have their own rules. For example, in C++ programming language, there is a rule that every valid statement should have a semicolon. Now, the compiler will have check your program for all those rules. If you have not followed those rules, then the compiler will generate the error and you have to do this process again. If you have followed all those rules of the C++ programming language, then you will get the assembly code or the file containing the assembly code. Now here the 1.s is the assembly file containing the assembly code for the 1.cpp, and 2.s will contain the assembly code for this 2.cpp. Now the next thing that we have to do is we have to translate the assembly code to machine code, and for that purpose we use a program that called as a assembler. The assembler will take the assembly code and it will generate the object code or the machine code. The file containing the object code is called as the object file, and this will contain the machine representation of the source code. The object file generated by the assembler will have the .obj file extension in the Windows and .o extension in the Unix platform. Now here for the file 1.s, the object code will be this 1.obj, and for this 2.s, the object code will be 2.obj. Now for every source file that you have in your program, there will be an object file for that. Now we have the machine code representation of the source code, but this is not an executable file. Now we know that we can only execute the executable file. Now the next thing is that we have to do is we need to link all these subject files together, and we have to create an executable file which can execute. Now we can do that by using the program called as the linker. The linker will take the object files generated, it will link them together and it will generate the executable file. Now here what's happen is the linker will take the object file of this program. In this example 1.obj and 2.obj, then what it does is we said that we are going to use the features from the standard library and external library. It links the features of all these libraries which we have used in our program. It links them all together and it will generate the executable file. Now when we talk about the external libraries, there are two types of external libraries: static libraries and dynamic libraries, and we will learn about them later. If it is a static library, then the executable file will contain the static library, If it is a dynamic library, then the executable file generated by the linker will actually contain the link of those dynamic libraries. Now here, while writing the program, I said that we will include the header file to our program, and that's the because of the header files will contain the declaration of features, and the implementation of those features we will provide in the some form of object files. So the linker will link all those object files, and it will generate the executable files. And this process of linking these object files together and generating the executable file is called as the linking process. Now during this stage, if the linker can't find a library which you have to use in source code, then it will generate the error saying that it can't find the library. So in that case, if you are using the external library, then you need to provide that library so that it can link it properly. So the linker will generate the error if it can't find the library, and you need to go back to your source code and make sure that you have used the proper library, and then you have to connect the program and you need to do all the steps again. And if the linker can find all those libraries required, then it will generate the executable file. Okay, now we have done the builder process, we have an executable file. Now the next thing is that we have to do is we have to execute this executable file, and for that purpose we use the program called as the loader. The loader will load the executable file into the main memory, which is the RAM, so that the CPU can execute the program. Now the loader, it will not only load the executable file, but also it will load the other libraries which are required for this executable file to run properly, and then the program will be executed by the CPU, and after the execution you will get the output. Now here the things is, when we get the output, your output can be either correct or it can be wrong output. Now you guys make as like how you can get the wrong output. Now just for example, let's say that we are writing a simple program to calculate the area of circle. Now the computer is just a machine, it doesn't know the formula to calculate the area of a circle, but as a programmer it's your job to give the right formula to calculate the area of the circle. If we have given the wrong formula to calculate the area of the circle while writing a program, then the computer doesn't know that which is the right formula. It will just produce the output according to the instruction that you have given, and if something like that happen, then the output will not be proper output. So if your program is not producing the proper output, then you have to go back to your source code. You have to make sure that you have done all those things properly, and you have to follow all those process again, and then you have to generate an executable file, and then you have to run that executable file to get the proper output. Now by looking at these things, you may think like, okay, this is a tedious process, we have to do all these things again and again, but it is not that difficult. I said that we will be using the C++ compiler provided by GCC. Now all these programs which are required to create an executable file from this C++ source code, they come in a bundle and they are called as the toolset. All you have to do is you have to install the toolset, and By writing just one command, you can perform all these steps. If you want, you can perform all these steps individually, or you can just type in one command and all these steps will performed, and you will be executable file. Now here I have simplified a lot of things, and my goal was to give you an overview. So this is it guys for this video. If you like this video, hit the like button, and if you want to watch more tutorial like this, do subscribe to this channel. And if this video helps you, then write the comment and do share with your friends who wants them. And thanks for watching. I will see you later in next video.